What's up, y'all? I have not posted in a hot minute, but today I think it'd be great to just, tell y'all about something that's happened recently. So my birthday was earlier this summer, and after my birthday party, after the 8 people or so that, came over, ate food and left, uh, my dad looked at me and he was like, "Wow, I'm very impressed with all the friends that you brought yesterday, They all greeted me at the door. They all cleaned up after themselves. They all asked if they could help with the grill. And, they treated myself and, your mother and your siblings well too. And I said thank you, but later on, I kind of realized, like, dang, my friend group was never ever like that. When I was, like early in high school, I used to have friends that would be like an hour to 2 hours late to certain events. And my parents would drop me off to like maybe the mall or something, the basketball court, and they would check on me from time to time, and I'd be like, "Oh, they're not here yet," and they're like, "What? It's been like 45 minutes. What is going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And so as time progressed, people like came and went in my life, but my parents would always check and ask like, "Are your friends actually there?" And I'd be like, "Yeah," and that really hurt me, cause it's just like, dang. That's the precedent that my parents had on me because they'd seen, how much disrespect I was tolerating. And over time, I started to tolerate less and less of that, right? For me personally, right now, I work from 8 to 5, and then I go straight to the gym, hit the weights, go get dinner, and then maybe play some basketball. So if I'm making time for you to hang out, that shit should mean a lot to you. And so for for the time being, it makes me feel a lot better if you are actually showing up early to things, or if offer to drive me or offer to pay for it if it's not the case, because I don't have much time for you. So if you're gonna be late, I only got like what 5 minutes to hang out with you. If you're gonna be 30 minutes late, 40 minutes late. And so over time, I started to tolerate less and less disrespect, and then I, you know, pushed more into people that support, support my videos here, support my fitness journey. I feel really good about my fitness now because a lot of people have supported me on that as well. People that support me with just every goal in general, everything that I'm always working towards. And in turn, that makes me feel so much better about, actually showing up early and showing love to my friends, offering to drive them home, offering to, take them to, get a meal during my lunch break and stuff like that, right? And so it's like, over time, that positivity I surround myself with, even if I was a very, very negative person before, which I definitely was, it's almost automatic for a positive mindset to come into your heart when that's all you surround yourself with, right? So now before I was surrounded with people who constantly disrespected me, and so I was always just negative, like, I'm not a good enough friend, I'm not cool enough to be hung out with, you know? And then over time, started hanging out with people that, actually enjoyed not only things that I said, but enjoyed, the hobbies that I did as well. And even if they didn't, just showing up just because I was there, that meant a lot to me. And so I'm so much more inclined to, outpour into that now. And that I feel like that makes me so much better of a person because I'm able to, meet someone new and, keep pouring because I know that if that doesn't work, it's fine because I already got my people and anything else is just an extra blessing that I have, right? And all of this was, before I got introduced to Christ. And one of my best friends actually took me to church one day at the start of this year. And since then, I've, dedicated pretty much every day, every second to Christ. And it's been such an amazing journey because I realize now that I'm probably like 10 times stronger than I was before I knew Christ. And right before I knew Christ, I thought I had reached like the peak of strength you could have. Like I was very loving to, my girlfriend at the time. I was doing great in the gym, had great grades, great relationship with my family. Everything was great. And I thought, this has to be the pinnacle. But, when things started crashing down, I was like, what is going on? And then I found Christ. And it's like at this point in my life, I've gone through like, a bunch of hardships this year, but I look at this now and the ways that I've handled those things are so much stronger than I would have handled it before Christ. And I realized that, at the time that I thought I was at my all-time highest, I was maybe about 10% to 20% of what I am right now. And what better, what easier way is there for me to have reached that point of strength if I didn't have all my best friends that are Christian, giving me advice, holding me accountable to go to church and to pray and stuff like that. And it's just so, man, like this shit really hits, man, because like I never had this shit before. I've always been trying to make friends and just feel loved. And it took me so fucking long to get to this point, man. And when I made that realization, I actually was, in a Sunday service and I was just in tears. And that was the first time I'd ever actually cried, like in the church after the, 7 months that I've been dedicated to Christianity. And it just, you know, at a point where I was facing a lot of hardships, with anxiety and, just negative thoughts in general, just realizing that I didn't have the strength alone to do it and that I needed God to give me the strength to walk like Jesus. It really, oh man, it really hit me like in the soul because I realized that, for the 19 years that I didn't know him, he could have always done that for me. And I just had to accept him and my soul could be free. And so I guess here, I think just to conclude this whole thing, I want to say, you're always going to accept the love that you think you deserve. And that can be for friendships, relationships, even with your own family, there's going to be people that are just going to tear you down. And you have to realize, you have to be so aware of what's tearing you down. And once you're aware of that, you can say, okay, well, what or who is going to bring me up? And so then you can pour more into that and kind of drift away from that. And then this will really, restore your heart. And for me personally, when I started pouring more into people that are more positive, I met a lot of, Christian people. And I'd be like, damn, how are they so unshaken in, such hard times in their lives? Or how are they so, outpouring with love, how are they so okay with hosting all the time and cooking for people and expecting nothing in return? How are they so forgiving of me when I fuck up sometimes? How are they, I would always ask, like, how are these people such great people? And so when I started to really ask about it and when I really saw it for myself, I realized that, I'm going to gravitate towards those people because they love me the way that I'd always wanted to be loved. And so now I'm going to do that for other people because I've seen that and they've all seen that from Jesus. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. I'm really sorry I haven't posted in a while, but I'm glad to be back on this and hope to talk to you guys real soon.